Welcome back to Life Stories, where every tale is a window into the raw, beautiful, and sometimes heartbreaking truths of human experience. Today's story is about love, betrayal, and the painful journey of reclaiming self-worth after a dream wedding turns into a silent war of control. It's a story of giving too much, losing everything, and learning the power of walking away. Subscribe to Life Stories to begin today's powerful journey, because sometimes the most important love story is the one you write for yourself. I'd always believed that love, real love, was about giving, about showing up fully for someone, even before they ask. That's what I thought I was doing when I married Savannah Cole, a woman with a magnetic smile and eyes that danced with mischief. She was bold, creative, an artist with a studio that smelled of turpentine and unfinished dreams. And me, I was just a guy who drew buildings for a living. Stable, grounded, maybe even boring, but she made me feel like color had entered my life for the first time. Our wedding was everything Savannah had dreamed of: lavender fields in Napa, string lights draped like stars, a white dress that shimmered in the twilight. We had 300 guests, a 6-tier cake, and music that made even her reclusive uncle get up and dance. I wrote vows from the heart, told her I'd be her rock, her shelter, her home. Her mother cried, her father actually smiled, and when I carried her over the threshold into our honeymoon suite, I thought we'd made it, we'd arrived at forever. But forever ended before the champagne lost its chill. We had barely kicked off our shoes when I leaned in, smiling, my heart full of everything we'd promised. And that's when she placed a firm hand on my chest and said something that chilled me more than the ice in our glasses. "Not tonight," she said. "Not ever. Unless it's on my terms. Take it or leave it." I blinked, still halfway to a kiss. I thought I had misheard. "What?" "You heard me, Ryan," she said, folding her arms. The woman who had whispered love to me under Parisian lamplight now stood like a stranger, cold, controlled, almost triumphant. I wish I could say I handled it with grace. I didn't. My thoughts were a mess: anger, confusion, embarrassment. Was it a joke? A test? But the look in her eyes said no, it was a line drawn in concrete. "I decide. Not you," she added, and turned her back. I stood in that room, our honeymoon suite, feeling like a fool, like a man who had given everything and just realized he had nothing left to give that mattered. Over the past year, I'd handed her gifts like love letters: a cherry red convertible she'd once gasped over, a closet full of designer clothes, and even a house in Sacramento for her parents, Hank and Debbie, who were drowning in rent. Every decision came from the heart, not because she asked, but because I wanted to ease her burdens, share her world. But standing there, I realized I hadn't been sharing. I'd been auditioning for a role I thought I'd already secured. That night, I didn't yell, didn't beg. I just grabbed my jacket and walked out. As I left, she called out, "Where are you going?" "Leaving it," I said, not turning back. I remember the elevator ride down a blur of hotel carpet and my heartbeat thundering in my ears. The bar downstairs was dim and quiet, the kind of place where regrets go to marinate. I ordered a whiskey, then another. The bartender, a guy with a grey beard, slid it over without asking. "Rough night," he said. "Rough doesn't cover it," I muttered. I texted Matt, my best friend and my lawyer. "She said it's on her terms. I'm picking nothing." His reply was instant. "Are you sure? You just tied the knot." "I'm sure," I wrote back. "I want an annulment. Tomorrow?" Back in a cheap motel across the street, I lay on a lumpy bed, staring at a water-stained ceiling. Her smirk haunted me. The way she said "take it or leave it" played on a loop, and for the first time, I saw what I had refused to see before. Love shouldn't be a negotiation of power. Not when you've already promised forever. By morning, I had a mission. I would take back everything, not out of revenge, but because I finally understood something vital. You cannot build a life with someone who sees your love as leverage. She wanted terms. Fine. I had a few of my own. I don't remember falling asleep that night. Just the sound of cheap traffic outside my motel window and Savannah's words echoing like a bad melody. "Take it or leave it. as if love was some conditional contract instead of the sanctuary I thought we were building. By I was standing in the motel's lukewarm shower, rehearsing what I would say to Matt. Not that I needed to say much, he knew me well enough. I wasn't the type to threaten or make a scene. But once I made up my mind, I didn't backpedal. I called him from the lobby. "You still on this annulment train?" he asked, cautious. "Full speed," I replied, pacing in front of a vending machine. "And I'm taking everything back, starting with the house." "You're talking about the Sacramento place? The one I put in her parents' name?" "Not quite. I never finished the transfer. I'm still on the deed." He sighed a long, weary one. "Ryan, that's going to hurt. You sure you want to go that route?" "I'm not their son-in-law anymore, Matt. I'm not even her husband. I want them out." By noon, I was back in my office in San Francisco. My assistant, Justine, gave me a double take when I walked in, unshaven, tie-less, and wrinkled like I'd slept in the backseat of my car. She didn't ask. She just handed me coffee. I opened the property folder, every receipt, every contract, my name on each one. I'd bought the house for Savannah's parents, Hank and Debbie, because they were barely hanging on in a crumbling apartment complex. I fixed the place up, installed a new porch with my own hands, then handed them the keys 2 weeks before the wedding. They cried, hugged me, called me a blessing. Now, I was delivering eviction papers. I pulled up to the house around p.m. Debbie answered, her graying hair in a messy bun, a tea towel still over her shoulder. Her eyes widened when she saw me. "Ryan, what's wrong?" Everything I said, and handed her the envelope. "You've got 3 days. I'm selling the house." "But this is our home. You gave it to us." "I gave it to Savannah," I replied, and she threw it back in my face. "Ask her why." Behind her, Hank appeared, towering, his face darkening as he read the document. "You're kicking us out, after all you said about family." "You were her family." "Not mine," I said. 3 days. I walked away, their protests fading behind me, my hands trembling. I didn't look back. That night, I drove to the dealership and sold the convertible, her prized toy, paid in full by me. Then I returned to our apartment, let myself in, and found it empty. She hadn't come back. Fine. I boxed up her clothes, the silk, the boots, the designer jackets, and dropped them at a women's shelter downtown. When the woman at the front desk thanked me, I only nodded. I wasn't trying to make a statement. I was just done playing savior. Savannah posted her response later that night. A photo of her holding a twisted sculpture made from her car parts and shredded fabric. The caption read, "Some men think they own you with a deed." My stomach burned. She was turning this into a statement, spinning me into the villain. I texted Matt. "How's the annulment?" "Filed," he replied. "She'll be served tomorrow." Good. She wanted terms. She'd get them all wrapped in cold hard truth. The morning of the annulment hearing, I stood outside the courthouse in a navy suit, tie knotted, clean shaven, every inch of me polished, composed. But inside, something cracked. Not regret, not grief, just a quiet weight that I couldn't shake. I had come to end what should never have begun. Savannah arrived late, still dressed like the artist. She was paint on her knuckles, her blouse slightly wrinkled. Her chin was lifted, eyes steely, but I noticed the flicker, the smallest hesitation as she sat across from me, her lawyer trailing behind like a shadow. The judge moved quickly. Papers were flipped, statements made. Matt presented the deeds, the titles, the receipts. Savannah's team tried to argue the house, the car, even the clothes had been promised as marital assets. But the law was on my side. I had never signed them away. Then Savannah stood up. "Your Honor, may I speak?" The courtroom fell silent. She didn't look at the judge. She looked at me. Her voice was low, the kind that cuts through louder noise. "Ryan, I'll drop the countersuit. Just help my parents. They're in a hole because of all this." For a split second, I saw the woman I used to know, the daughter who once whispered gratitude in my ear as I handed her father the house keys. But that woman was gone the moment she smirked at me on our wedding night and said, "Take it or leave it." "No," I said, my voice clear. "You made the rules, Savannah. Now live by them." Her lips pressed together. She didn't cry. She didn't argue. She just sat down, her hands clenched in her lap like she had rehearsed this outcome. The judge ruled quickly. Annulment granted. Claims dismissed. Outside the courthouse, Matt clapped a hand on my shoulder. Clean break, he said. You're free. I wanted to feel victorious, but all I felt was stillness. Not the numb kind, the kind that comes when something heavy is finally set down. I moved into my new house a week later just outside Seattle. Minimalist, quiet, mine. No clutter, no gifts, no rooms waiting for someone else to fill them. Just me and a sketchpad on a folding table. I spent nights designing a community center I'd do pro bono. Something real, something that gave without needing to take. Matt still updated me, though I never asked. The exhibit had flopped. Collectors moved on. Her parents, once proud of her, now blamed her for everything. I heard that Hank wouldn't speak to her. Debbie called her every night, crying. Then, one night, I got a text from an unknown number. You win, no name. But I didn't need one. I didn't reply. Winning didn't feel how I thought it would. It was quieter, lonelier, but it was mine. Weeks later, Matt told me Savannah had smashed one of her sculptures. Middle of the night. Neighbors said she was sobbing, muttering about terms. She wanted freedom. I gave it to her. All of it. She chose the battlefield. I just refused to lose myself in the war. And now, I sleep. I draw. I live. Alone, yes. But finally on my terms. Looking back, I don't carry bitterness, just clarity. Savannah and I were never meant to build a life together. We were building two different houses on opposite foundations, mine on commitment, hers on control. And when the walls came down, I didn't just lose a marriage, I lost the illusion that love is enough without mutual respect. It took being broken to understand something most people never admit. Sometimes love isn't taken from us. We give it to the wrong person and then hold on, hoping they'll return it in the form we deserve. But when they don't, we're faced with the hardest truth of all. We have to walk away, not to hurt them, but to save ourselves. I still think of her sometimes, not with anger, not with longing, just as a chapter that ended. Savannah will go on, perhaps with a new exhibit or another version of the same story. And maybe one day she'll understand what she lost, not the house, not the car, not the gifts, but someone who would have given her everything, unconditionally. As for me, I live quietly now. I sketch, I build, I give, but never at the cost of who I am. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this: never fall in love with potential. Fall in love with presence, with truth, with someone who meets you where you are, not where they plan to take advantage of you. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever loved and lost and had to rebuild from the ashes, subscribe to Life Stories for more powerful tales of heartbreak, growth, and human resilience. Your story matters too. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.